Good morning. Welcome to your program, your agenda, and I'm your host, Cito Beltran, thanking you for joining us today. It's a Wednesday, May 17, 2023, and from the looks of it, still cloudy out there. But chances are it probably won't rain, at least not here in Barrio Capitolio, Pasig. Just judging from the quality of sunlight, mukhang iinit na naman mamaya. But at least with some clouds floating around, it seems to be less painful on the skin. Please continue to take care of yourselves. It's still hot out there. It's humid in many parts and mahirap na po yung ma-hospital. Sabi nga nila, mas mura nang mag-aircon ka sa bahay kaysa magbayad ka ng kwarto sa hospital. Okay, now let's go through our regular greetings here. Thank you for those of you who are Cignal TV subscribers. Thank you for those of you who watch us on YouTube and on Facebook and of course on the Cignal Play app. Thank you very much, PLDT Home Fiber Optic Internet. And of course, the most important, thank you, Lord. Magpasalamat po kayo. Bumangon tayo. Buhay tayo. We are able to work. We are breathing. We are with family. Be thankful for every little thing. And when you put that together, you will have a lot to be thankful for. Let's get on with our daily starter. And our daily starter got my attention because what is being taught in this daily starter seems to be characteristic of the CEOs that I know, particularly the big bosses that I have come to know personally. Napansin ko lang na yung isi-share ko sa inyo are kaugalian. Ugali ng mga taong mabibigat. Ika nga, heavy gut, they are CEOs. And our daily starter comes from the teachings of Confucius. Okay, Confucius. And if you don't know who Confucius is, then chances are you're very young or I don't know what cave you have been hiding in. Okay, but Confucius say, okay, if a man is respectful, he will not be treated with insolence. Kung ikaw ay magalang, hindi ka babastusin. Okay? O kaya kukutsain. If he is tolerant, he will win the multitude. Okay? Mapagpasensya ka, he will win the multitude. If he is trustworthy in word, his fellow men will entrust him with responsibility. If he is quick, he will achieve results. Okay? He will achieve results. If he is generous, he will be good enough to be put in a position over his fellow men. I know several CEOs, business owners who exemplify these characteristics or kaugalian. They show this and they do this. And especially in the generous side, many of them are not generous after becoming rich. They were already generous before they became big-time rich. They were already kind-hearted, generous. Kahit yung pagkain, hahatiin nila, isi-share pa nila. That's when they started. And now, they are so big that they are feeding hundreds, thousands of Filipinos, etc. So, please pay attention to what we shared on our daily starter today. Because as the Bible says, there is a man who gives more and receives more. Generosity is a trait of really rich people, and patience, respect, trustworthiness, having word of honor. And I attest to that sa dami po. With all the people I have interviewed, the success stories, they have this characteristic. So I do hope you will pick it up and also pick it up from the Bible. Let's now go to our news coverage, a review of the Philippine Star front page, and the headline for today, May 17, 2023, Wednesday. Government readies Philippine tourism rebranding. Okay. DOTR launching enhanced slogan soon. The government is set to roll out a rebranding of the tourism campaign after President Marcos approved a 5-year plan to promote and transform the Philippines into a tourism powerhouse. Okay, that was revealed by Tourism Secretary Cristina Frasco. Okay. Secretary of Tourism. Okay, so there, alongside that piece of news, we have a photo of Frasco and Secretary Ivan John Uy of the DICT, and above them is a photo of the viewing deck of the Bohol, of the Chocolate Hills from Bohol. Okay. At the top of the front page, 400,000 bivalent vaccines arriving next week. Okay, after numerous discussions, delays, the bivalent vaccines will finally arrive next week, all 400,000, and the government is already preparing the distribution to the selected recipients who need them the most. Okay. And top photo, big story as of yesterday and last night and today, the kings of the court. Okay, kings of the court. Gilas Pilipinas player, scary head coach Chot Reyes, after defeating host Cambodia 80-69 to win the gold in the men's basketball finals of the 32nd Southeast Asian Games in Phnom Penh yesterday. The Philippines regained the basketball crown it relinquished to Indonesia in the previous game stage in Vietnam. Ayun po. So, at least, masaya na naman yung mga Pilipino, particularly the supporters of Team Gilas Pilipinas. Okay, another story. Sugar imports eyed in September. Okay, the government plans to bring in fresh round of 150,000 metric tons of sugar by September, assuring local producers that it will not affect domestic production so as not to depress prices, according to SRA Administrator Pablo Luis Ascona. Okay, the new round of sugar importation aims to ensure a comfortable buffer stock and avoid another sudden spike in prices. Now, here's the problem, okay? When this news was released yesterday, we here in Agenda already got complaints from sugar planters and millers in the Batangas area because apparently they have unharvested sugarcane because the single operating sugar mill in that region, okay, or in that province was closed, suspended by the SRA. So the planters have sugar canes that are beginning to dry up because they can't harvest because there is no sugar mill to bring them to. Ayan. So, habang puro import ang inaatupag, yung mills hindi raw binubuksan. Okay. Economic team wants Maharlika Fund Bill signed before SONA. Eto na naman, nagmamadali na naman. The government's economic team is hoping that Maharlika Investment Fund will be enacted into law before President Marcos delivers his second State of the Nation address in July. Okay, and we will leave it at that. Okay. Meanwhile, repeated infringements require boosting of sea defenses according to DFA Secretary Enrique Manalo. Maritime cooperation will always be a key feature in Philippines-Japan ties. Being island states binds us in the common objective of keeping the seas of the Indo-Pacific safe, secure, and peaceful. Okay, Manalo said at a forum on Philippine-Japan Strategic Partnership organized by the Japan National Graduate Institute for Policy Studies. Okay. Meanwhile, Bantag, okay, former BJMP Chief Bantag and his assistant Sulweta have been indicted for 2 inmates' torture. Torture palaang. Okay. And last but not the least, you have that photo of dismissed Police Master Sergeant Rodolfo Mayo taking his oath before testifying at the Senate Committee on Public Order and Dangerous Drugs yesterday. Okay, siya po yung napagbintangang nagtago ng ilang kilo ba yun? 11 kilos ba yun of shabu, whatever. Okay, that about wraps up our reading of the front page of the Philippine Star. And if you would, please buy your own physical copy or get a subscription online with the Philippine Star. There are more stories in the inside pages or sections. Okay, let's now go to our guest for today. It seems, according to Team Agenda and our executive producer, Gabriel Malyari, that our viewers like it when we talk about or when we interview individuals who teach about financial literacy, who talk about what to do in business, and actually enjoy when we guested someone regarding real estate. Every time he comes on the show, people pay attention. So, without further ado, ano man magagawa ko? Sikat siya eh. Anyway, it seems you guys enjoy it, so that's what we're going to do. But before I introduce him, may I request all our viewers, if there are topics, subjects that you want to know more about, if there are issues, agendas that you have and you want it featured here in your program, please let us know via Facebook and we will attend to it immediately. In the meantime, we are going to talk real estate again here on Agenda, and I'm going to now ask Gab, please roll out the Betamax, Gabriel.
Carl D. is a well-established real estate broker and investor in the country. He is currently president of Spectrum Investments, a property portfolio management company. D shared his expertise in his 2 books entitled Creating Wealth Through Property and 6 Steps to Renting Out Your Condo.
Okay, Carl, welcome back to the program. White is the color of the day.
Good morning, everybody. Sir Cito, it's so good to see you again. And salamat sa lahat ng viewers natin who appreciated my last episode. Salamat. Good to be back.
I was quite surprised because, when we pick topics here on agenda, feedback is not that easy. And knowing whether you have your finger on the button, so to speak, works or not. Because may mga topics na akala mo hot na hot. Pagkatapos, ice cold pala. And then your topics na you're worried, baka pang mayaman or et cetera, et cetera. And regular people like it. So I guess it's a issue where if the guest is good and if the topic teaches them something. So in your case, Carl, people like it when you teach them about real estate. And so let's begin, okay? Because Team Agenda gave me this guide, not for the conversation, but apparently one of our friends, Vince Rapisura, an expert on finance or money, came out with few pointers on rules on buying a house. Okay, I repeat, rules in buying a house by money expert Vince Rapisura. 3 years of income worth house. Ano ba yun? Save 20% for the down payment. 20 years to pay maximum if loan. Maximum 20% of monthly income equals amortization should not be greater than 50% of total assets. Hindi ko obviously, kasi alam mo ako, binless ako ni Lord Carl. I came into property that was very, very affordable, but I spent many years fixing it, a resort, a resort, which I traded into a townhouse, which I fixed, and then which I eventually sold, etc., etc. So, hindi ako nag-amortize, hindi ako nag-bank loan, okay? But back then, pwede pa yun eh. Ngayon, the impossible dream na. So, as far as Carl D is concerned, what say you?
Sir, okay. So, para sa mga viewers natin, I will share some perspective about housing loans. So, ito na. A lot of people, they are scared of borrowing money from the bank. No? So, nandyan na yan. We're gonna add a little different, fresh perspective. Okay, Sir Cito, I always start by saying this. Ang taong umuupa, pag umupa yan ng let's say 10-15 years, yung pera na binayad natin sa upa, it's gone. It's disappear. Wala na yun. It's zero. But on the other side, if you borrow from the bank, okay lang, may interest. Pero you paid for it for 15 years, 10 years, 20 years, sa'yo na yun. Maybe medyo may edad na tayo by that time, pero it's something na we call our own. It's something we can pass to our kids versus renting na totally wala talaga. So that is a foundation of borrowing money for housing loan.
Okay, now when I was doing some study many years ago, I came across the term that Americans use, starter home or a starter nest. Sabi nila, it doesn't have to be a house. It can be a studio. In the Philippine reality, how would you coach a couple if one of your best friends got married? Carl, paano ang gagawin namin? What's our next move?
What I will say, bro, definitely you have to really consider buying. No? I-amortize mo na lang sa bank. But what to buy? Yan. I always share to my friends na, a house is not about the square meter. It's about the people and the relationship inside the house. Diba? If you are blessed to have a lot of money and a high income job, go for it. Go for the bigger house, go for a townhouse, go for a big condo. But if you are not so fortunate yet, na konti lang ang excess natin, go for a small unit. Okay lang. It may be small, at least it's ours. It's ours to call home. And then, pag small ang property natin, we reference Japan. Diba? Sa Japan, maraming innovative solutions.
Correct.
Na how you can, ang nakikita ko, sir, is sa mga kulang ang shelving in small apartments. When you do shelves kasi from floor to ceiling, lumuluwag yung floor space. You know, Sir Cito, ito kwento lang. May napunta ako isang friend ko, sabi niya, ang sikip ng unit ko, wala kaming space. Pagpunta ko, puro orokan pala sa sahig. Kaya walang space, di ba?
Okay.
So when we made shelves floor to ceiling, yun na, gumanda na. So there's so much space under the bed. There's so much space paakyat. Sometimes yung kitchen cabinet natin sa taas, walang laman. So we just maximize yung mga spaces. So yeah, yes.
Yeah, and I think it is also essential, Carl, is it correct, that you plan your next 5 to 10 years, etc. Because I remember, back in the 60s, 50s, paramihan ng anak. Because the culture mentality was, it will be your children who will help you earn more money and eventually become your piggy bank in the future. Pero ngayon, pakauntian na ng anak.
Yeah. So definitely, sir, it's really all about what's comfortable for you at the present. Definitely, kunyari, first home, you can afford the 1-bedroom. Go for it. If you can afford the 2-bedroom, go for it. Pero if you cannot, at studio lang yung afford natin or something small, couple pa lang tayo, possible 1 kid parating, okay lang. At least it's your own. Then eventually, pag medyo gumanda-ganda ng income natin, you can sell the studio and add another, para amortize again, para maka-upgrade tayo sa mas malaki. So, okay lang kahit you start small, but if you can afford it, definitely, prepare for the future.
Okay, and then what about yung sinasabi, save 20% of your save for the 20% down payment. Ano ba ang process of acquisition ngayon? Because pag bumili ka ng kotse, I discovered hindi pala yung pag nag-car loan ka, bibigay sa iyo lahat. Kailangan pala you have to pay a certain portion of it as your share, initial share. And then bibigay sa'yo sila na yung magbabayad ng the rest.
Exactly, sir. So, yes, maganda yung binanggit ni Vince about 20%. No? But just to share a different perspective, I will move it to a peso amount. Di ba pag bumibili tayo ng kotse, actually car loan is a good example. Bibili tayo sa kotse, uy, gusto ko bilhin yung kotse na yan. Magkano monthly? 15,000 a month. Uy, afford ko. Go. So, I want to move it to a peso amount. So, number one, what is the rule of thumb? Pag buying property, turn it into a peso amount. Then, check mo yung amortization per month. What is comfortable for us? Of course, syempre, what is comfortable, meron tayong konting buffer. Wag naman sobrang sagad for those emergency. Pag nagkasakit, at least hindi sagad na sagad yung excess natin. And then, second, siguro rule of thumb is how much down payment. Sa kotse kasi, di ba, parang we balance. O magkano down? Magkano monthly? O sige, balance na. Ganon din sa property, sir. Pay as much as you can sa down payment. That is a conservative. If you can pay 50%, if you can pay 60%, di ba? Better. Kasi mas maliit na yung ina-amortize natin. But that's for beginners. Siyempre, pag medyo mga seasoned na, alam na nila yung cash position nila, cash flow, you can now borrow more. But as a rule of thumb, sir, 50% at least ng property, kaya mong bayaran in cash.
Okay, not directly connected but consequential to this, okay? Uutang ka, you borrow money, you get a loan to buy a unit so you can start out, but then somewhere along the way you realize you can't handle it, it's too much, or something happened, a parent is sick, blah, blah, blah. So you have to bail out. Yes. Now, some people either just sell at a loss. Is it smart to sell at a loss? How do you unload what was supposed to be a blessing that has become a burden? And what is the consequence? Kasi may mga nagsasabi, careful because of your credit history, baka biglang hindi ka na maka-bank loan.
So Cito, wonderful question, no? Sa akin, if you are in dire needs na, di ba, to sell, di ba, talaga medyo siguro unexpected scenarios, everything else is not a concern na at the moment. Yung mga future credit score is not a concern. Kasi at the present, you need to balance diba? So, there are 3 types of exit, sir, sa property. 3 types. Number 1, you exit with a profit. Okay yan, the best. Second, you exit at break even. Okay din yan. And the third, I want to share with all the viewers, if you exit at a loss, kunyari nabenta natin, yung 5 million na binigay natin na pera, 4 million na lang bumalik. It is still okay because we are in a desperate situation to take out the burden. So isipin mo, sa property, desperate ka na to sell, 5 million na nalabas mo, you got 4 million back, still okay. Kasi may cash back ka pa Unlike, let's say, a business na talagang not making money. Sometimes, di ba, pag restaurant na not making money, tuloy-tuloy, there's nothing that you can gain back. So yun lang, sir, if that situation comes, a desperate tayo to sell, okay lang. Sell at a profit, sell at break even, sell at a loss, all are okay.
Okay, what about don't sell, just borrow or take out a loan to address your other problem?
Okay, that is quite, it's quite complicated kasi mag-overlap yan, di ba? May problem tayo dito, tapos uutangin mo to para magkano ka ng pera to pay. Siguro, number 1, sir, if we are more like simplistic in our finances, sell na lang para simplified yung buhay. Sell, may peace of mind tayo. And yun naman yung pinaka-importante, Sir Cito, alam ko yan. Alam mo yan. Peace of mind is very important. So first, you don't complicate it. Sell. Then settle all your other burdens. But if you are medyo financially savvy at confident ka na pag minortgage ko tong property, may makuha kong pera, masasettle ko yung obligation ko sa kabila. Then it's also another technique. But not advisable for medyo not so savvy finance persons.
Okay, what about what happens to people who have to unload? Kasi I'm sure people, I've met people during COVID who had to sell their investment properties. Kumbaga, sabi nila, pag-invest tayo, this will be our income in the future. When we're older, we have our house and then we have an investment property earning rental, etc. But during COVID, they had to sell out kasi na-hospital, nagkasakit, etc. Now, what's your advice or word of counsel to people who go through that trauma? Kasi may mga iba parang, ayoko na yan. Pinaghirapan mo, pagkatas mapipilitan ka lang ibenta, etc. Is there such a thing as unlucky in real estate or, not your cup of tea, etc.?
Yeah, sir. Definitely, sir. In real estate, sabi nga nila, you make money when you buy. Diba? So, kung yung presyo, dapat maganda, hindi masyadong mahal. And then the product should be a good product. Just like any business, sir, even in your cars, diba? Parang pag maganda yung nabili natin na kotse, na product, there should be a market that will buy it in the future. So yes, definitely, Sir Cito, pag medyo mali ang nabili na property, it's not something na good, or somebody will appreciate in the future, then mahirapan ibenta. So it's in the acquisition talaga. And definitely, usually pag, kunyari maganda naman nabili na property, meaning it's something that people appreciate. And then you want to unload in the future.
Yeah, but yung mga napilitan ba? There are people who had to sell and they're traumatized by the experience. Is there, twice is the charm, third time lucky? Because I've heard from investors na, many of our friends, Carl, na ngayon big time na katulad mo, they crashed and burned on the first, second, even third attempt. But on the fourth, fifth attempt, wow, that's when they got everything together and they made money. They became profitable. What about real estate? First time you buy and you crash and burn because somebody got sick, you had to sell. What is the history for crash and burn victims?
I agree with you, sir. Alam mo, when you crash and burn, you get traumatized. May takot talaga. And it affects your decision-making in the future. So, definitely, there's no rule of thumb, no? Parang pwedeng sumwerte ka or pwede naman talagang unfortunate ka all throughout, no? But siguro, pag medyo nag-crash tayo sa first, nadapa tayo, try to talk to a mentor na medyo experienced and analyze it. Where did I go wrong? Nabulunan ba ako because I ate too much? I digested too much in one go? Or talagang there was an unfortunate situation with the family na not related to the property, di ba? And sir, I think property, just like any other product in the household, di ba? Pag desperate tayo for cash, di ba? Ano ba pwede ko ibenta? Ibenta ko na tong watch ko. Ibenta ko na tong laptop ko na I don't use. Ganon din ang property at some point. When you're desperate, it's something that you can sell. But buti na lang, at some point, property has value. Di ba? Kaysa naman, let's say, other things na pag naluma na wala nang bibili.
Okay, Carl, we'll go for a quick break. When we come back, I want to ask you about that. Yung property has value. Kasi there is such a monster called inflation and a liar that tells us that we have more value. Pero when you compare, parang pare-pareho lang pala tayo. Okay, we'll go for a quick break. We'll be right back here on Agenda. Okay, welcome back to your program, Your Agenda. I'm Cito Beltran, your host, and joining us, continuing our conversation regarding property, buying houses, real estate, is the founder and big boss of Spectrum Investment and someone who has been teaching us on several episodes, Mr. Carl D. Carl, welcome back.
Hello, Big Boss Cito.
Big boss ka dyan.
Big boss.
Okay, Carl. There's this thing, okay? 22 years ago, we bought property here in Barrio Capitolio. And back then, it was only in the thousands, okay, per square meter. And ngayon, sobrang mahal na. Okay, they say it's 75, it's 80 per square meter. I don't know. Apparently, when it comes to real estate, no one really knows the real value. It depends on how desperate the buyer is or the seller is. Now,
Exactly.
what is the truth behind that? Sabi nila, pag binili mo ng, let's say, binili mo ng 20,000 per square meter, ngayon, pare, 100,000 per square meter na dyan. Is it really accurate? Because when I went around and I said, if I had to build the same house again, kiss my behind goodbye because it will cost even more.
Exactly. So yeah, sir, definitely one of the biggest advantage of property nga is tumataas yung value niya, no? It rides inflation. So inflation is as simple as, nung bata tayo, 35 pesos lang, meron ka ng one-piece chicken meal, Jollibee, 35 pesos. Now, I don't know, 125 pesos na, di ba? So it's gone 3-4 times, no? So property, yun yung pinaka-feature na, sir, especially lupa. Like in Capitolio, di ba? Nung barrio pa lang siya, ngayon, estancia mall na, with a bridge na to BGC. So definitely, if you buy a land, especially lupa, no, and you just let it run for mga 20 years, over time, it will be a substantial amount pa rin. So Cito, if you don't mind, may quick story ako.
Go ahead.
A few years ago, I met this old man, 70 years old na siya, 70. And we sold his property for 3-something million. A nice, small property lang sa medyo outskirts ng Pasig. 3-something million, not so expensive, di ba? 3-something million. Pero this lolo is desperate na kasi at that age, wala na siyang financial earnings eh. So talagang yung maliit na property lang niya, kumikita na siya ng konti-konti sa bed space niya. And then, nung nabenta yung property, we gave him advice, we sold the property eventually, we helped him. And then when the money came in, he hold my hand, sabi niya, Carl, maraming salamat. Hindi ko naisip kung kailan ako 70 years old, doon ako magiging milyonaryo. At hindi ko na-imagine din na itong lupa na to, na binili ko nung bata pa ako, nung younger days ko ng mga siguro, a few thousand pesos, maybe 20,000, would become 3 million. But that's over 40 plus 50 years.
Yeah.
So, you see yung ending niya, Sir Cito, na at 70, meron siya ngayon 3-something million na ipapabigay sa kanyang family. All because of that one cheap, not so prime property. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I mean, that's the nice story. That's the investor who basically sold and made the profit. But what about the to be continued part of it? That 3 million that you sold for that old man, you can't buy the same property for 3 million anymore.
Exactly.
So people should also be careful about just selling property without thinking. Kasi bakit ganun? Nabenta ko doon ng X million pero wala na tayong mabili, maliliit na lahat.
You're right, Sir Cito. That's a very good analysis. Na whenever you sell property, mga viewers, always remember, baka mahirapan na tayo makabili ng same property that you sold, no? But usually, sir, it happens in situations na you're in dire need of finances. Like kami, sir, there was a time in our life and our family, we had to sell a family home. The family home na nag-grew up ako for 20 years because the family was struggling financially. So we had to sell the house. And it really, I know the feeling, sir. Talagang malulutang, you're gonna be parang floated back to life kasi nabuhayan eh. You may not have a house, you may need to rent, pero at least in the present, nabuhayan kayo. Another chance. Yes.
Okay, so just be careful that you might think, nabenta ko yung property ko, milyonaryo na ako, multimillionaire na ako, pagkatapos maghahanap ka ng ibang bahay, yari ka. Kasi marami pa or it requires more millions than you actually got for your property. Now, okay, what about location? Because I don't know in your generation, but in my generation, it's location, location, location. Location ka dyan, ang mahal-mahal naman ng lupa.
So Cito, to all the viewers, I wanna give a more modern twist to that location mindset. No? So tama kayo, Sir Cito, during your time and our time, location is important kasi wala naman internet. You need to be visible. You need to be seen. Diba? So kaya nga there's this prime location along the busy highway. But I'm seeing, sir, in the next 5 years, 10 years future, that will be challenged. Kasi yesterday I ordered the rubber shoes. I'm surprised ang galing Pampanga. He was selling to me in Quezon City, but their base is Pampanga and it will just be shipped in one day. So I think, sir, in the future, you can buy milk tea, food, whatever na hindi mo na kailangan in a prime location. So that will be challenged, I think, sir.
Okay, when we chose Capitolio 22 years ago, or 25 years ago, it was simply because it was centrally located, meaning 30 minutes to the airport, 30 minutes to the expressway, 30 minutes to work, etc. Nowadays, many of my friends have left centrally located properties, sold out, and moved to the fringe, or what we used to call the fringe, like Antipolo. Some have moved to Santa Rosa, Laguna. Some have moved to Malolos, Bulacan, etc. And the question is, how many years before the fringe will also become centrally located? Kasi medyo parang mukhang everybody is moving outside Metro Manila and everyone is there. Gaano ba katagal? How long before an area? I mean, like BGC, it only took what, 20 years to become totally populated and built up?
Yeah, that definitely, sir, good observation. No? And because of the recent pandemic, which accelerated the work from home, the remote working, the internet, online schooling, I think it will be so much faster in the future of 10 years. Yung pag-move to the fringes. Mainly because it's more affordable, di ba? Kasi kahit sabihin natin, sir, na hindi maganda dito sa central. If it's 30 million difference, wala tayong 30 million. We will just adjust. So definitely, it's gonna move faster than ever in the next 10 years. Sabi ko, sir, may kausap nga ako na isang lolo maybe 80 years old. Sabi, I used to live in Rizal Avenue in Manila. Sir, alam mo yun, Recto. Rizal Avenue.
Recto. Oh.
And pag sinabi mong lampas ng Welcome Rotonda, probinsya na yun. And now, di ba, you have the Banawe. Ay, sir, alam mo yan, Banawe. You have Banawe na doon. Super prime na rin. So definitely, things, just like a balloon, sir, pag piniga mo yung balloon, it goes congested, it will really move out of the fringes. So yes, sir, when people ask me where to invest for future, look at everything around Metro Manila, the fringes, it will expand, definitely.
Okay, but what's the hot cake nowadays?
Hot cake is where there is development, where there is Manny Villar, there is Ramon Ang, there is Henry C. Jr., Ayala. Yun ang i-watch out natin. As long as those big anchors will move, may susunod.
Okay, now spend now and suffer now, or save now and spend later?
For me kasi, sir, I'm an advocate of the present, which is God's gift to us, the present. No? So it's really, medyo may konting balance between the present, not so much, I mean, okay naman you save for the future, but bantayan din natin yung present. So I would go for present because the kids are there, they're growing up, they want to spend time with you, create memories. Baka naman pag future masyado nang malayo, na wala na.
Okay, what are the things that people should watch out for when buying first a property or buying a house? Ikaw ba, are you an advocate of buy the land and build or buy the finished product? Because I know of my friend Arnel, he's a builder, and I was shocked because after many years of building so many things, he just went out and bought a finished parang townhouse. And exactly. I said, ano ka ba? We enjoy building. What is wrong with you? Sabi niya, bro, pagod na ako.
Pagod na.
I don't want to have to go through the same hassle building my own house as I went through building houses for other people.
Totally can relate, sir. I have a client na construction supply. Ganon din, bumili na lang din siya kasi alam niya, he is aware of the headache of building a house. Okay, maraming angles, so sir. First, if you buy a land and build, it's definitely gonna be cheaper. Diba? Kasi wala ka ng mga cost Financially, it's cheaper if you know how to make it work. But yung time mo, yung uncertainty, you're gonna go to MC home, yung stress mo with all the moving parts, it's there. So if you can handle it, you like it, it doesn't affect your income source, diba? Siyempre, it will take your attention away. Then go for it. But there is really parang nothing, it's not so bad din if you buy something ready-made. Mas mahal siya, konti, because there's a profit, diba? But pagbili mo, you move in, your life begins tomorrow. Wala nang masyadong mga stresses, diba?
Okay.
And I tell you, sir, pag hindi tayo marunong, I'm an architect by education. Given a choice, I want to buy something ready-built also. Kasi I know that yung time ko na taken away might affect the active income. Yun.
Okay. Me, I love to suffer. So I love to build things. Anyway, no, but I'm just kidding. But okay, tricks and traps of the trade. I am told by so many people, Kuyang, if you're going to buy property, negotiate, haggle, because some people just want to see the cash in front of them, and they will actually be willing. What's your experience in terms of buying property?
Yes, sir. Definitely the first step to buying property is yung self-education. When we say self-education is you are aware of the potential problems. No? So not just the good things. Yung good things, madali na, di ba, sir? Yung, all the potential problems. And what you need to do is, klaro, when you talk to a mentor like us, no? What question should I ask my contractor? What question should I ask the seller before I buy it? So sabi nga nila ngayon, it's not about you having the answers, it's having the right question to ask.
Meron pa ba, Carl, are there still a lot of property, vacant properties to buy, or should we be discussing, sale and construction of purchasing or construction of houses na lang, because buying property now is a long reach?
And then, okay pa rin, sir, maybe in Central Manila where it's already much appreciated, mahal na. But, there are still opportunities for yung mga mas konti ang income na, fringes. Especially now, look at the MRT, diba? It's now going to San Jose del Monte, Bulacan. So now, if you live in Bulacan and you're a commuter, accessible na ngayon. So yeah, definitely, sir, the outskirts are still there.
Okay.
It's still lower than Central.
Okay, if I'm buying cash, kunyari,
Yep.
may nagmana, tumama sa loto, or may napangasawang mayaman, etc. Is there a rule of thumb where, okay, if you're paying spot cash, you should get X% discount on the property?
Walang rule of thumb, sir. Kasi, syempre, if you buy it from a developer, it's really just marketing. It's like added on, di ba? So, kaya nila discount. But definitely, sir, if you are a cash holder at may gusto kang property, you are able to negotiate better. Kasi ready ka eh. You very, very, kumbaga, certain yung when ka makabayad. So, yeah, definitely, if you see a property, your cash, you can use that to negotiate. Say, Oto, ma'am, I can pay you 10 million in 2 weeks' time. Basta malinis yung paperwork, take my offer. So, definitely, it's a power.
Okay, well, that's interesting, because a lot of people, the best thing you've said so far, or the thing I picked up for today, ladies and gentlemen, from what Carl shared, is that you have to educate yourself. When I remember many, many years ago, before we bought our property here in Capitolio, the Lord basically told me, go look for property. Don't ask me how the Lord talked to me, okay? I'm not going to go into religious discussion, okay? But trust me, the Lord said, look for property. And my response was, say what? I don't have money in the bank. What am I? Are you talking to me? Wala akong pera sa bangko, maghanap ako ng property. People are going to say I'm a liar, I'm crazy. But the Lord said, go look for property, go talk to the realtors. And I realized in hindsight that that's exactly what the Lord was leading me to do, Carl, to educate myself on what were the lot cut sizes in Capitolio, what was the topography of Capitolio, how the topography or yung hugis ng lupa affected the price of property, and what were the average prices, etc. And so by the time I suddenly came into money, I knew how to make the deal and stand my ground.
Perfect, sir. Add on lang, sir. You're right. God will really provide eventually. So I just want to share lang, no, na when you talk to mentors like you and me, sir, no, rephrase your question to, Carl, okay ba bumili ng property? To, Carl, what question do I need to ask before I buy a property? Then you will be educated. Sir, can I do a quick plugging on my coaching session?
Go ahead.
To all the viewers, no, marami kasi nag-message sa akin, questions, ganun-ganun, and I could not answer it through message lang. Kasi kailangan medyo may framing, di ba? May situation. So I do coaching session. You can just reach out to me in my Facebook page. I do personal private coaching. Gina-guide ko sila what to watch out for. Kaya people come to this, Carl, bibiling ko tong property na to, this price. Okay ba? And I give them at least a guide. So I do my coaching session. Facebook lang, guys.
Okay, that's important, ladies and gentlemen, because for my side, I do coaching for executives. I'm not one of those, titled, may certified, etc. I am one of those who will get in their face. Kumbaga, walang hiya ako, brutal ako, kanya kinukuha nila ako to coach them or to help them figure out their problem.
That's what they need, di ba? Real talk.
Yeah. So going back to what we're talking about, Carl. Okay, so as far as the buyers are concerned, they should learn about property values, cut sizes, what was the last property sold and how much was it sold, because it gives you accurate market prices.
Definitely, sir. Yeah, definitely. From a price point of view, yes, that's very good. Then, just to add on, sir, no, you also consider yung neighborhood for the kids, yung lapit sa school nila, yung convenient. What is yung
pasensya ka na, natawa ko eh. Kasi everybody in my generation sabi, having a house in front of the park or near the park or the basketball court is ideal. No.
What is your experience, sir, about that? Maingay?
Lahat ng ingay masasagap mo. Lahat ng mga parade, lahat ng mga forum, lahat ng mga paliga, dinig na dinig mo. So that is no longer a measure of what the ideal location is. But carry on, Carlo.
So fantastic, sir. Tama ka, sir, Cito. Aside from the financial aspect of it, take a look at also yung life aspect, the present day, not just the future profit, but the present life.
Okay, and especially ask around kasi baka mamaya biglang tatayuan ng skyway yung harap ng kondo mo, katulad na nangyari doon sa Naiya 3.
Yeah. I agree with you, sir. Tama.
Okay, so what other tips do you have, Carl?
Oo nga pala. I guess kanina the team was asking me about housing loan, borrowing money, no?
Yeah.
So siguro final tips is if you're in the situation na may konting excess kayo, secure ang job nyo. So yun pala, number one is before you consider borrowing money for housing loan, check talaga your source of income. At least it's secure. Meron tayong konting naitabi na naipon for emergency. And then, yung kumbaga we foresee na okay baka wala pa naman big expenses in the near future. So the source of income,
so there on the screen we're showing it. You have to figure out what your monthly payment is, what the down payment size will be, the length of the loan, and the type of interest rates. Yung bang interest rates, Carl, fixed ba yan o nag-fluctuate ba yan?
Okay, first, sir, just to add on, these things on the screen, they are the technical part of the housing loan. So
okay.
But don't forget the fundamentals, which is tayo. Are we ready to borrow? Do we have emergency funds saved up? Diba? Okay, the next is the interest rate. Sir, I think interest rates, at some point, it's something you cannot control. At some point, diba? You can only choose kung sino yung mas mura, but what you can control really is your income. So most of the time na yung tao nag-fail with their loan is because their source of income was affected. Diba? So monitor the source of income. Interest, there are various types. No? Meron yearly reprise, meron fix. Diba? Meron fix for the whole tenure. Pero syempre, as you fix it, nagmamahal siya. So here's what you do, sir. Here's what you do, mga viewers. Usually, parang car loan, the fix is easier to manage. Yung fixed for 5 years or usually sa property, sir, if it's a 10-year term or 15-year term, usually a rule of thumb is you fix for at least 5 years. Para for the next 5 years, wala ka na isipin. It's all set. Oo. Okay. Ang yearly reprise kasi medyo mas nakaka-stress kasi sandali lang yan next year. It might go up eh. The bank might adjust it higher. So 5 years fix for a 10 or 15-year term.
Okay, now,
Switch it to a peso amount pala. Don't keep on talking about 6%, 7%, 8%. Turn it into the peso amount. O ito, 12.5. Ito, 15K. Parang okay na ako sa 15 kahit mas mahal kasi secured na. Wala na ako iniisip. Sweldo ka naman tataas eh. Something like that.
okay, but what about inflation?
Okay. Ako, sir, personally, I think inflation, minsan sa day-to-day naman, you just roll with it. So, parang it will just happen. Parang don't worry too much about it. It will happen, definitely, no? But parang it will just, happen lang.
Okay, well, okay, now, point of interest for couples, okay? Yung mga mag-asawa na or may for one or two kids, okay? Is it safe or I don't even know what to term it, but in many instances, it's only one of the couple who single income household. Isa lang ang nagtatrabaho, only one is working. Or should both of the couple be working?
Very good question, sir. My personal belief is one is dominantly working and one, yung role niya, dominantly working. The other one naman is dominantly taking care of the kids and the household. No? But it doesn't mean na full-time. Pwede siya smaller income. Kunyari, sa bahay siya taking care of the kids. Pero, they make some online selling, konting baking. At least may tulong din sa income. That's my strategy. But not both dominantly making money, tapos walang nag-take care of the household.
Why is that a concern?
I think, personal ko lang, sir, I think the family, there should be at least one taking care of the household, just overlooking the kids, their education, things for the house. And ayoko kasi, sir, yung both are really career-oriented tapos walang nagbabantay sa bahay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that's about all the time we have, Carl, but that's not the only time we're going to be interviewing you. As you have discovered, when you do these coaching things, seminars or events, let us know so we can feature it here on Agenda. And of course, if you have other people and subjects that you can recommend as well, please let us know because it seems our audience loves it and they love you. Thanks, Carl.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. I will see you soon.
Okay, that's Mr. Carl D. of Spectrum Investments and our mentor, very young mentor for real estate. Now, just as a point, wrap up, I just want to point out to you, okay, first and foremost, educate yourself. Find a friend who is a real estate broker because nowadays you need to work things out with a licensed realtor. Number two, if you ask around and ask about the community, property sales, lot sizes, topography, it's important because baka magaya kayo sa akin na at one point nakakuha ng property na parking lot pala ng isang eskwelahan. Okay, so sakit ng ulo sa traffic. Okay, so always study the community and as Carl pointed out, someone takes care of the house, someone earns the money, and you can do side hustles. And if you need to cut your costs so you can address your investment. I'm Cito Beltran, sharing, not teaching. Okay, anyway, let's go to our prayer for the week. Baka sabihin nyo, ako yung guest eh. Hindi po. Okay, let's go to the prayer of the week from Genesis 48, okay, verse 4. And he said unto me, or unto you, behold, I will make thee fruitful and multiply thee, and I will make of thee a multitude of people, and will give this land to thy seed after thee for an everlasting possession. May God prosper you. bless you, protect you, enlarge your territory, and grant you good health. God bless. Please include Team Agenda and our families in your prayers and keep it here on One News.